So good morning guys, welcome to Autism Twins and Us. Is that better? Just wanted to add a little bit of context. I'm sat outside because it's quite nice at the moment. It's been raining for 3-4 weeks. Just a little clip this morning is just a little insight into, just watching me, a little insight into when they're at school. Like that's like literally the only time you can have a shave on your own with the bathroom door open, go to the toilet, listen to a bit of music, etc. The same for Amy, even worse for Amy, because obviously when I'm at work she's got them at home all day. But just a bit of context into anyone that follows our Facebook page, which is Autism Twins and Us. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. We put all the links to all these vlogs in there, but it also has little tiny clippets of videos, little mobile clippets that are short, difficult to put into vlogs, caught on phones at, you know, right at good moments sometimes. So check that out if you haven't already. She put a post on there yesterday about going away with Matthew. Sorry if I'm squinting, but the sun's a little bit brighter. And just to put a bit of context into the reason why, she did put a comment on there of why, but just so people understand that this isn't a decision that, oh, poor George isn't going to do anything. He just really would not enjoy it. So I'm working that weekend when she was going to go anyway. So her sister's going to come around and have him when I'm on my night shifts. I'll be here during the day, me and him will still do stuff. And then a week after that we're going to go up to pool, all four of us, when I'm off work, and spend a good bit of time up there with Yaya or Jane. Taking George to a caravan where there's no decent Wi-Fi, no TV that he likes, no sofa, no blanket, no spinning chair, not his own bed, is just several of the reasons why. He'd probably be fine with the activities when you take him swimming for an hour, when you take him to the park for an hour, when you know, do whatever, an activity for that short space of time, hour, 45 minutes, hour, as you've seen on some of our vlogs before. He would cope with that, but it's very short. The day is long. It's you know, you're talking a 12-hour day, 13-hour day that he's up, 14 hours, sometimes 15. You know, if he's really bad, and that is a long time to fill a day away from home where he hasn't got his normal creature comforts. So that decision's been made. It's not a punishment. It'd be more a punishment to take him. He's been extremely destructive. I'll show you some of them clips in a second, what he's been doing around the house in the last 2 weeks. Even to the fact that, even though we said about the medication, we've asked to see if they can speak to us and suggest a different type maybe that we can get in him. He has literally been non-stop from 4:30, 5 o'clock when he gets up, destruction mode all day long when he's at home. When he's at school, obviously he's busy doing activities all day for the 6 hours that they're there, or whatever it is they're there, 6 hours roughly. So he's getting on fine in school as far as we're aware. We haven't been told anything negative about school. He's been okay when we're doing things with him. Apart from Saturday, I took him shopping to do a weekly shop, and he had a major meltdown in the supermarket, which I really struggled with. I couldn't console him, I couldn't stop him, I had to get the shop done, so I had to just carry on with him screaming literally. Maybe that was the wrong decision to take him, but we're trying to get him out there and... What are you doing, Minnie? We're trying to get him out there and to do family things, everyday things that need to be done. So we're working on that. It's a progress. Some days it's going to work brilliantly, some days it does. Some days he'll sit in the trolley and scan things and be happy. He wasn't happy Saturday. And I deliberately took him Saturday so that Amy and Matthew could have a bit of time at home quiet, because he's not only destroying the house, he's hitting out a lot. He's hitting me and Amy constantly. He's hitting Matthew constantly. So to try to stop that, I thought maybe get him out for a little bit. It didn't work. Doesn't mean we stop there. We keep progressing, we keep moving forward. You know, 3 steps forward, 4 back, 3 steps forward. Eventually we'll get there eventually, and get him to be able to accept certain things. But anyway, yeah, it was just, I just wanted to add that in, just about what we're going to do and what Amy's going to do with the break. She's going to take Matthew, so Matthew gets a little break from George as well, and her sister's going to stay over the nights when I'm, the 2 nights when I'm on a night shift. Obviously I'll be here during the day, she'll stay for a few hours so I can get a bit of sleep, but hopefully that will go ahead fine, and that's only in 3 weeks time, 3 or 4 weeks time, end of March anyway. So they've got that to look forward to. George will have a couple of days just with myself and his auntie, just mooching around the house really. We won't probably do a lot, but he doesn't want to do a lot, that's the thing. He wants to be at home, he wants to be on his tablet, he wants to be watching TV, he wants to be doing all the things he likes to do. So I may take him swimming on that weekend just to get him out. But yeah, and hopefully it'll be warmer. It's starting to get warmer already. I mean, I'm sat here in a t-shirt, and we're what, 3rd of March I think, Monday the 3rd of March. I haven't got my watch on because I just had a shower. Have you seen the bath? Sorry. But yeah, we'll catch up with Amy when she gets back hopefully and just get her little take on it as to why. I am going to show you a little bit of the destruction, what's been happening. So anyone that has got a child that's destroying the house, you're not alone. It's happening to us. We've come to the conclusion that we'll just do the best we can to try to maintain things and make the house look half decent. That's all we can do. You know, at the end of the day, as he gets older, hopefully the destruction stops as we try to implement, you know, some sort of punishment system where we're not obviously punishing him because he can't help it all the time, but some of it, in my opinion, isn't autism related. It's not getting what he wants, like any other child, and he's extremely destructive. Obviously it's figuring out which is him struggling with his autism and what is him just being naughty or having a paddy, which, you know, isn't a meltdown. He's not having a meltdown every time. You know, people that think, oh, every single day he's having hundreds of... No, he's not having hundreds of meltdowns every day, but when he does, there isn't anything he can do about that at all. There's nothing really we can do about it, try to avoid the situation, but that is where we are. We're learning the same as he is. He's got to learn how to deal with things, so we've got to learn how to deal with things. So I'll show you some destruction. So, damage 1. Look at the dents. That there's getting caved in even more, the dishwasher. He's been kicking this new fridge freezer. He's been kicking that down the bottom, which we're trying to avoid. He's taking the curtain pole off. Well, he was hanging on that curtain, the left side, and he's taken that off. But look how many holes have been put in previous. That's going to be a problem. I'm going to have to put a piece of wood like what's on that one underneath to stop him, hopefully, from destroying that. Look at the bench that his uncle made out of a piece of scaffold plank, because the table benches have been destroyed. That's like rock hard, but we got to watch him with that. He's hitting the glass windows. What else has he done? Oh, one more. He's taken a chunk out of the wall. It might look small, but this is like a brand new plastered wall, and he's made a big chunk out of that. I'm gonna have to try to fill that, paint it. There's lots of other scratches and stuff where he's been, don't know if you can see these chips of paint out of a brand new plastered wall. So this is just some of the things. Sorry, it's going to get a bit dark. I'm just walking back down. This is just a few of the things that he's been doing when he doesn't like what he's being told. He doesn't like that he can't have something. He doesn't like that he can go outside. Outside again is a massive thing. Again, like last summer it was horrendous with the fact that he wants to be outside all the time. That wouldn't be so much of a problem, but when he's destroying the fence and he's trying to climb over the fence, and obviously he broke his leg at Christmas, we have to try to limit that. We can't. It's impossible to say we'll go out there with him. We are out there with him, but we can't be outside all the time with him. We've got another child inside. You know, you've got to live. You're doing dinner. You're doing washing. It's impossible to be out there with him all the time. He can't, unless he climbs a 6-foot fence, he can't come to no harm, but he has climbed a 6-foot fence, so we have to watch him like a hawk. It's just not ideal. The fence needs to be sorted out. That needs to be ripped out and redone. For me to find the time to do it is difficult, because when I have got the time and I'm off work, the last few times I've been off, they've been on half term, etc., Christmas, there's been no time to do it. And what he finds really frustrating is, if it isn't raining, he thinks that means he can go out. It's soaking out there. It's been raining non-stop for 3 weeks, but if it's dry for that few minutes, he's going out there with socks on. We can't put shoes on him to go outside, because if we put shoes on, he thinks he's going out, and then we'll have a meltdown when we're not going in the car. So then that becomes an issue. So it's a balancing act of letting him out there. Like this morning, I got up, let him out there. 10 minutes, well, 5-10 minutes later, he come back in. He was quite happy to come in because it was chilly. Sometimes that isn't the case. He'd stay out there for 3 or 4 hours at a time, and that isn't always possible. It just isn't possible to live like that all the time. If we had a completely enclosed garden and it was safe for him to be out there all the time, and he couldn't climb, then maybe we could do that. Leave the door open, let him in and out. But the problem is the inside of the fence is featherboard fencing, and there's like a 2x4. Obviously halfway up the fence, so he goes on the wall, then he puts his foot on that, then he climbs up to the top of the fence and tries scaling over the top and absconding, which is a danger in itself. I have got one other thing to add to that. About 3 weeks ago, I sent an email to the police, the local police, basically just to ask them if there was anything in place for vulnerable people, people that abscond, you know, mentally unstable people, mentally ill people, autistic people, just to ask them whether there was anything in place where we could send the police pictures of the 2 boys. Not so much Matthew, because I don't think he ever would, but you never know. George wants to run away, and not from us, because he just wants to run away, run and escape, and you know, it's not him trying to get away from us, it's just his curiosity, basically, of the world. So I emailed him and just said, look, could someone contact me? So I had a contact from I'm trying to think now, I can't remember the term. If I think of it, I'll add it on the top now in some writing. Basically, someone at the police to see whether they could take photographs of them, or I could send them a photograph, take their name, their address, our phone number, our names, a little profile just to say, look, that I've got autistic twins. If ever we call up to say one's missing, because George has gone over the fence before, right away they've got everything that they need, picture, to be able to help us find him. If you know, if that ever happened, whether that was out and about, whether that was us in town, whether that was him climbing over the fence, whether it's him getting out of the school, you know, I think that'd be extremely difficult because the school's pretty much locked down. Everywhere's buzzer doors with cards, but these things happen. You hear about it all the time. I'm not saying it's ever happened at the school he's at, but they can, you know, it does happen. Accidents happen. A door doesn't close properly because of the weather, where it's not shut properly, and he goes out the door and then wanders out the front door and off, you know, God knows where. So I contacted them and said, look, is there anything in place? There is nothing in place in Devon and Cornwall. She did say to me about they're working on a passport system for vulnerable people. It's not in place yet. They're working on it. Well, to me, you'd think that that would already be in place. There must be, you know, we're hearing about mental health crisis. You know, you hear about police resources looking for missing people all the time. You know, people that have come out of a care home that are mentally unwell. Not saying they're criminals or anything like that, but they get lost, they get confused, they've got dementia, they've got autism, and they go wandering off and no one knows where they are. George can't communicate with people. He can't verbally speak to people. He can't say, my name's George, I live here, my mummy and daddy's name is this is our phone number, this is our house number. He doesn't know any of that. So for me, that's pretty poor. I am going to chase it up. I'm going to try to push to see whether I can help push them in a direction of getting this passport system set up for these people, because I think it's pretty important that not just autistic people, but people in general that are vulnerable, if they go missing, the families can find them as quickly and safely as possible. If George went missing, time is a massive important thing. If he went missing for 2 minutes, you know that bit where you turn around and your child's come off your hand, and for that 2 seconds you can't see him in the crowd, and then you see him and you're like, oh, and your heart sinks and you think, oh my, you know, I've lost them. It's never happened to us, but to me, preventative is better than cure, and I don't think it's really acceptable that there's nothing in place for these people. I don't know if anyone else has ever come to any sort of a way around it. You know, I've thought about GPS things to put on his arm or his leg, or, you know, just to keep him safe, so we know if he ever went missing, we know where he is. It doesn't appear that that's that easy to do. If he had something on that he could take off, he would take it off. So it would have to be something that could be locked and grasped, where, you know, if it was just a watch, I could put, like, for example, let's say I put on an iWatch on him, he would take it off. He wouldn't keep it on. We've tried putting watches on him before, no chance. If we put on some sort of tracking thing, you know, he would take it off. People say that, you know, the police officer said to me, oh, when he gets older, when that becomes more of a risk as he gets older and has more freedom to go from A to B on his own, or then he'd probably have a mobile phone. Yeah, but he probably wouldn't take a mobile phone with him. He wouldn't be able to. He doesn't speak on the phone. He doesn't talk. So why would he have a mobile phone? And if he did, he wouldn't use it. He would use it when he's using it. He wouldn't think, I've got to take my phone with me so that mum and dad know where I am at all times. It's not even a case of being controlling on his whereabouts. It's just more a safety thing. I don't know if anyone's ever had any ideas for that. I've got older children. Ours are only 5. So at the moment, maybe it isn't so much of a concern, but it's a concern to me. If he went missing right now, he can't talk. So I don't know, but if anyone's got any ideas or suggestions, like I said, the police said they're working on a system to do basically what I suggested, but they wouldn't take pictures off me. I said to them, could you take a picture and just put it on record to our address? You know, no, they won't do it. She said if something ever happened and he went missing, she did reassure me that because he's a child and non-verbal and he's autism, it'd be like an emergency that they would be looking for him within minutes. But minutes to me isn't good enough. If he falls over and falls into a lake or a river because he's attracted to water and bumps his head and drowns, that isn't, to me, I'm not saying that they would even get to him in time if something like that happened, but what about preventative measures? They're not in place, which for me is another thing to start looking at, because I don't think it's acceptable that there isn't anything in place at this moment in time for vulnerable people, autistic people, people with dementia, people with mental health issues that could go wandering and not really know where they are or whatever. There's multiple amounts of people that would benefit from that type of system, in my opinion, and it would free up resources rather than them coming to the house. Oh, let's have a picture of him. You've already got it. We've rung you. You've got the picture. Help us find him. You know, that hasn't happened, but, and God forbid it doesn't ever happen, but if it ever happens, I don't think the system in place is acceptable. So we'll see. I'm going to push it though, and I'm going to try to ask questions of the right people, because in my opinion, as a police force, and I'm not even putting it all on them, but as a system, it isn't acceptable that there isn't something in place. Whether that's the police, whether that's the council, I don't know, but it needs to be looked at, in my opinion. I don't know if in other countries, if in America, I know we've got quite a few viewers in America, what systems are they have out there? I've got no idea. I have tried looking into it. I'm going to do some more research into it. But I'm pretty sure that the Americans and probably other countries have got something in place. We've got nothing in place, which to me isn't good enough. But anyway, that's enough rambling. It's not an attack on the police. Please don't get that. It's not an attack on the police. But she said to me she totally understands the idea of it. They're working on a passport system, which is pretty much what I was talking about, what I'm suggesting. So they're already working on it. There's already someone that's come up with the idea and thought about it. So why isn't it in place? Get it in place. It wouldn't even cost much. It would save them money than me ringing them and them having to send out 10 police cars to look for him, when they could have a list of where he would possibly go, a picture of him, what he looks like, our numbers to contact us right away if they found him, or if a police officer found him and he's not talking, they could look, picture comes up, bang, they know who he is. Let the local bobbies have a picture of him so that they just show him a picture once and say, if you ever see this child around the area where he lives, he's autistic, you know, they would remember a face. I'm not saying that every single police officer would remember him. I know they see lots of people, but it's a more better system than having nothing in place, in my opinion. So let's see where I can go with that, because I think it's not just Devon and Cornwall. There's nothing anywhere in England. So who knows? It could get something set up in Devon and Cornwall, because that's Devon and Cornwall is Devon and Cornwall Police. And then they could use it in all sorts of forces, all up and down the country for missing people. It would be better than a child going missing and then them finding them at the bottom of a lake, you know, when it could have been prevented because of time. Time is the essence when a child goes missing. Everyone knows that. So that's something I want to work on. I'm going to leave the vlog there, actually, because I've talked quite a bit. And I'm sorry that there isn't any footage of the boys in today, but they're at school. Amy's out, she's having a bit of time with her friends. She spent the whole weekend, Sunday and Monday at home, cleaning, working, stripping our bedroom wallpaper, taking the dog for walks, and she's had a rough week last week with her F&D. She's done really well the last couple of days. So she's went to school, dropped them to school this morning, I think they were doing a little bit of shopping here with the girls, and they were just going to go and sit and chill out together, I presume. I'm going to go and pick the boys up, so I'm going to edit you now. If you haven't checked our Facebook page out, check it. If you haven't subscribe to our channel. Most of the videos are not like this. Please go back and have a look at the library of videos. They're not just all me talking. It's very rare that it's just me sitting here talking to you. But there's a couple of issues that I wanted to talk about, which I think I've done, and I don't want to keep the vlog just going for the sake of let's try to make it a long vlog. There isn't any need for that right at this moment in time. One other thing, they did have a really good first week back after their half-term break. Both boys got on really well, and Matthew's got rain trousers, which we'll show you another day. That's a bit of a funny story, so I'll add that when I next get him wearing them. But put it this way, he looks a treat. We'll catch you all again soon. Thanks for subscribing, thanks for watching, giving us a thumbs up. You know, support us with autism awareness, and we'll catch you again soon.